Good afternoon and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 5th of August. It is Tuesday. We do have a 10-game main slate ahead of us this evening. I believe we do not have any weather to worry about. Seeing if our weather station hasn't been updated yet, but from my understanding is we should be good from a weather standpoint. Do have a few more pitching options on this slate than we did yesterday. A couple injuries kind of ruined us a little bit yesterday with Lodolo and even Soroka, but that's alright. This is a first look at the pitching options. I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I'll cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now, with all that said and done, let's just jump into the games ahead of us this evening. Kansas City, Boston, Garrett Crochet, always going to be in play. Dominated Kansas City the first time he faced them. He's not as strong at Fenway this season, but still has been pretty phenomenal overall. Definitely somebody that we're using. 10.9K price tag isn't terrible, I guess. But it is probably tough to get him with Toronto stacks. So when it's tough to do that, that makes me want to do it even more. So I will be trying to make sure I get Crochet paired with a couple of Toronto stacks in my runs tonight. Kansas City, Berger making his Kansas City debut. Wasn't anything special with San Diego. Wasn't terrible by any means, but he's not really a strong DFS pitcher, I guess. Be interesting to see how he performs with Kansas City. Probably like some Boston bats to start out. Cleveland and the Mets. I mean, I like left-handed pitching against the Mets. I just don't think I'm going to go to Logan Allen. Used him a few times this season. Probably kind of done trying to rely on him. Whip isn't all that special. He's not a big K guy. 14 home runs allowed. It's basically what? One every less than 8 innings. So it's not terrible from a home runs allowed rate, but still. Not sure he has the upside we're looking for here. Clay Holmes hasn't bypassed 13 fantasy points since the beginning of June. That wall that we kind of envisioned happening has definitely happened. I'm just not going to go there, even though Cleveland's an easier matchup per se. I just don't think he has the upside we're looking for, and he could easily just end up with a 13 fantasy point performance again. I mean, he was strong against San Francisco just 2 starts ago for 13 fantasy points. Even got the win, allowed just 1 run. Just K upside isn't there at this point for Clay Holmes. Milwaukee, Atlanta. This is the one game that does have a little bit of weather, but I don't think it's enough to send us running away. Freddie Peralta on the road. Not as strong as he is at home. Just makes a few more mistakes, more walks, more home runs. K number's not quite as strong, but still a pretty strong option. Coming off of a rough start against the Cubs. I could see a bounce back here against a Braves lineup that kind of appears to have given up, maybe. Acuna on the IL, etc. I think Peralta's in play. I obviously would prefer to play Garrett Crochet over 10K. Definitely prefer to play Brian Wu in one of the later games. But still, Peralta's somebody we want to utilize. Joey Wentz on the other side, very impressive in his last start against a team that doesn't strike out that much. Milwaukee's been getting it done enough that I just don't know if I want to go there. But I'm intrigued a little bit on the upside for Wentz. He's lengthened out to 95 pitches now. It only took a couple starts to get him fully lengthened out, which is nice to see. But, I mean, is he somebody that long-term is going to have some ability? I mean, as a relief pitcher, he had some pretty bad performances with the Pirates and with the Twins. So, he's kind of been all over the place. I'm at least considering it. I just don't think I'm going to get to Joey Wentz this evening. Cincinnati, Chicago. Shota has had some rough starts, but then he's had some pretty strong ones. 22 plus in 3 out of 4. I'm going to get there against Cincinnati. I will take left-handed pitching against Cincinnati quite often. I like his overall numbers when pitching at home. He's not a huge K guy, but does get a bit of a K increase. Coming off an 8K performance against a tough Milwaukee squad. I think Shota's definitely playing. He's probably somebody that goes a little overlooked based on his elevated price point. Let's see if I can bring up our projected ownerships here quickly. 16.5%. Kind of a little low. So it's a decent point. Freddie Peralta under 11.5%. It's very intriguing to me as well. But again, Shota makes sense to me. Zach Littell giving up a lot of home runs this season, 26 of them to be exact. One every roughly 5 innings. Biggest thing here is 18 home runs in 77 road innings. Now this is definitely a road game, no matter which way you look at it, considering all of his starts previously came in with Tampa Bay. Not sure. We have to figure out what the wind is doing in Wrigley. But I am interested a little bit just because the Cubs' offense has kind of sputtered a bit of late. And Littell does have some upside, but I might not get there. It's just kind of a so-so option. Does look like the wind will be blowing in from Wrigley, or at Wrigley. Kind of from right center-ish. So it's probably a pretty good win for him, considering the Cubs lineup should be somewhat left-hand heavy. Kind of leave him on the other, like, I don't know. He's probably a better play than like Wentz is for Atlanta, but I'm just not sure he's going to have the upside that we want. I mean, he does when things come together. He's just not a big K guy. Season high of 7 Ks, which came in start number 1 of the year against the Rockies, who strike out the most in baseball. Next game, Yankees and Rangers. Evalde for sure. Yankees get a boost. I think Judge is returning tonight, but still, Evalde's just been so good. 1 run or fewer in 5 straight starts, and 12 of his last 13. It's a pretty strong stretch for a guy like Evalde. Was strong against the Yankees first time he faced them. His home splits, not as strong as the road, but his K numbers are stronger when at home. It's obviously what we're playing for, K upside. I will gladly use Evalde this evening. The other side, Will Warren, volatile guy, but he does have upside, and I think this is an upside type matchup. Hasn't been spectacular of late, but he hasn't been terrible either. If he can pick up a few more Ks, probably in a smash spot. First time he faced Texas here, 10 strikeouts in 5 2/3. That's the kind of start we like to see. Problem is he is pitching on the road where he's been absolutely atrocious. I just like the upside way too much. I'm going to have some exposure, especially because he's only projected about 5% owned right now. So I will gladly take some Will Warren, in 10% of my lineups or so. Toronto, Colorado. Definitely not going with Colorado. Probably will sprinkle in some Jose Barrios. We played Eric Lauer at 6,300 last night. Worked out pretty well. I'm curious to see if Barrios has ever pitched in Colorado. But he's definitely somebody that I want to utilize on this particular slate. And we're going to get him at sub 9%. I will gladly take my chances in Coors. Tampa Bay and the Angels. Soriano has been solid. His numbers are still best when on the road, so take that for what it will. But his K numbers jump up when at home. And Tampa Bay overall on the road has been much weaker than when they're at home. So I think Soriano has to be in play. Pepio, somebody that I'm interested in, but I'm afraid of this. 3 solo home runs the first time he faced the Angels. And the fact that I believe he's pretty severe reverse splits, and the Angels get very right-hand heavy with power. It's a very difficult matchup. There's a ton of K upside, but his strikeouts on the road haven't been there either. So I may end up without Pepio in my pool. He's somebody that I tend to play too, but I think tonight he ends up on the outside looking in. Arizona, San Diego, Ryan Nelson taking on the Padres, who don't really strike out all that much. But Nelson's been pretty solid. 19 plus in 7 of his last 8 starts. 1 start against San Diego for 17 fantasy points. No earned runs allowed in that start. Just didn't pick up any strikeouts. He is at home, where he's been far better than on the road, even though his K numbers are worse at home. I think Nelson ends up in my pool, but he's somebody that I'm going to be kind of on the fence with, just because I'm not sure he has the K upside in this particular matchup. The other side, Yu Darvish coming off an elite performance, easily his best one of the season. Probably a pretty decent spot too. Obviously, Arizona kind of traded away a couple guys. Not the best lineup any longer. Obviously, there's some danger to it with Marte, with Carroll. But he went just 3 2/3 against them earlier. Still put up 10 fantasy points. So it's a pretty solid performance. I think I'm going to use Yu Darvish at 6,100. It's a super intriguing price for a guy that just went for over 30 fantasy points. White Sox and the Mariners. Brian Wu at home. Definitely somebody I want to utilize. His home number has been phenomenal. Not a huge K guy. And the White Sox have frustratingly not been a big K team, at least when we've used some strong pitching names against them. But still, Wu at home against a weak, below-average lineup, I will gladly take it. Davis Martin, not really somebody I'm going to go to. He was decent against Seattle the first time he faced them, but I'm just not really going to rely on Davis Martin at this point. Last game of the night, St. Louis and the Dodgers. Miles Mikolas just never going to make it in my player pool on a full main slate. I'll just pass. It's been atrocious on the road, and it's the Dodgers. At some point, the Dodgers are going to wake up. I don't know when it is at this point, but at some point they will. Sheehan on the other side has been respectable. Just one rough performance so far, but he hasn't been dynamic either. His numbers at home have been pretty bad, and St. Louis, not really a big K squad. He is about a K per inning, which isn't bad, but I think I'm going to end up passing on Emmett Sheehan as well on this particular slate. So, there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. And if you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And there will be a link for our merch store in the description as well. Go check out the Raz GPT hoodie. I believe mine should be here any day now, finally. I went with the gray. I know a bunch of people with the green. Not sure I can get behind the orange. It is bright, but check it out. Let me know what you think. And as always, best of luck, everybody.